这样安排，你莫慌，你莫愁。
T. Design and evolve being human. This video is more like my own essay, a personal reflection of how I'm thinking about the results of this year and the directions in which design might be moving next. Not from trends, reports, or tools, but from lived experience. By reflecting on this, I began to notice an unexpected but increasingly obvious connection between my tea ceremony hobby and my professional field, design, of course. A connection that at first felt so abstract, but over time revealed itself as deeply structural. So, part 1. The ceremony and the architectural attention. Its ceremony is not primarily about tea itself, but about the careful construction of attention where calm, order, and tactility create a space in which a person is no longer rushed, evaluated, optimized, but simply allowed to experience nothing. The thing this ritual competes for focus demands efficiency. Instead, the ceremony establishes a steady rhythm, but gently slows body and mind, allowing aroma, texture, temperature, and taste to unfold in a way that cannot be standardized and measured. What matters here is not an objective outcome, but the individual interpretation a sensation because the experience is completed only through perception, and this is preciously morality ceremony lies the essence of human-centered design, not as a metaphor but as a parallel structure. Good design doesn't impose meaning. It creates conditions where meaning can arise naturally from interaction, presence, and trust mm, the user's subjective experience. Part 2. Design, acceleration, and the loss of depth. Contemporary design exists within an ecosystem defined by acceleration, where speed is often treated as a virtue and automation is an unique station improvement resulting in systems and interfaces that function correctly while leaving little emotional residue behind. AI tools amplify this tendency, enabling the rapid production of visually coherent solutions, which are frequently released before they are emotionally processed, leaving users surrounded by outputs that are efficient, consistent, and strategically hollow. In such an environment, meaning becomes fragile because experience requires time and attention cannot survive constant interruption. This is why design is gradually shifting away from pure optimization and toward edge to edge, human to human interaction, where the goal is not to impress or dominate, but resonate. These ceremonies never serve to improve productivity or solve problems, they serve to preserve a certain quality of presence, and today that preservation feels increasingly urgent. So, part 3. Imperfection, vulnerability, and emotional truth. One of the most profound lessons of red tea culture lies in its relationship with imperfection, where asymmetry, irregularity, and visible traces of time are not considered flaws, but signs of authenticity in life. This perspective is encapsulated in the philosophy of Wabi Sabi, which embraces impermanence and completeness as essential qualities of existence rather than errors to be corrected. When a tea bowl breaks, it may be restored through kitsuji, a technique in which cracks are repaired with gold to transform damage into visible and valued part of the object's history rather than something to conceal. This approach resonated strongly with contemporary design practices, from intentional glitches and raw textures to fashion imagery that rejects excessive retouching in favor of showing pores, wrinkles, scars, and the accumulated experience of human face. Were the size of lifetime, not errors to erase. We don't emotionally connect to perfection, we connect to truth. They instinctively trust that reveals vulnerability because perfection creates distance, while imperfection invites connection. So, part 4: Time, luxury, and the human as the rarest resource. Historically, luxury was never defined by flawlessness or speed, but by time. Time invested in creation, time allowed for anticipation, and time given to appreciation. This is why luxury objects feel different, current duration, and attention within them. Tea culture approached time in a similar way, not as a resource to be optimized, but a medium to exist within, where slowness allows meaning to surface, and repetition builds emotional memory. In a world saturated with replication and artificial sameness, the, the truly rare element is no longer the product itself, but the human experience surrounding it, our sensitivity, subjectivity, and capacity for deep personal interruption. In this sense, we as humans are becoming the luxury, not because we are efficient or perfect, but because we are singular, unrepeatable, and shape the lived experience. And here it is, my conclusion. This understanding is also why I started this blog, not from a position of readiness, but from the recognition that readiness is not a fixed point, but an ongoing process shaped by action and reflection. This space allows me to think out loud as a desire, connecting professional inside of personal interests, such as theory, tools, films, and objects, while embracing imperfection, growth, and openness. And yeah, if you notice any mistakes in my English, I'm thinking I welcome them because desire like tea becomes meaningful only when it's lived rather than perfected. Thank you for staying with these reflections. See you next time.